I saw some reports that the Ballon d'Or sent a delegation to Spain, that is to talk to Real Madrid, so that Real Madrid can actually show up in this year's Ballon d'Or ceremony. And I understand what a Ballon d'Or is trying to do. Ballon d'Or is trying to resolve the issue with Real Madrid so that, in the future, another club doesn't do what Real Madrid did. That is simply because you believe that your player should actually win or should have won the Ballon d'Or, so that you decide that you not show up when your player, will not be actually one of the favorites to win it. So personally, like I said, I believe this one is actually childish from Real Madrid because it is not like at the Ballon d'Or they just take the Ballon d'Or and just give someone. No, they allow journalists and some other football players to actually vote for the player that they think was outstanding that season. So if these journalists and players they don't actually vote for your player, I don't think you have any reason to complain because it is actually based on the votes. Because if it was actually like that thing that that thing that Ronaldo introduced, that then it could have actually be a different case because that one no one actually votes for it. They just gives you just like that. So personally, I don't understand why Real Madrid are actually behave like children because the thing was actually given based on votes. And again, if you go to the ground, like I said, Jude Bellingham was actually in a position, actually in a better position in winning the Ballon d'Or, far better than Vini Jr. Because look, let's just take a look. Let's try first of all to try and compare, Vini Jr. and Rodri. First of all, Vini Jr. won the UEFA Champions League. That is fair play because he won the UEFA Champions League and he was the better player in the best player in the UEFA Champions League. Now let's look at Rodri. Rodri won the Euros and he was the best player in the Euros. And as we all know, unless you don't have football knowledge, you will know that Euros is far ahead of the UEFA Champions League. So clearly you can see up to there, that is Rodri is actually ahead of Vini Jr. And then apart from that, Vini Jr. was not the best player in anything else. And in the same year, I can tell you that Rodri was the best player in the Club World Cup that Manchester City won that year. You can see now what is happening here. Rodri was also the most important player in the in the UEFA champion. I mean in the Club World Cup that Manchester City won. On the other hand, Vini Jr. was not the best player in anything else. In fact, in Brazil, Vini Jr. totally ghosted. And on top of that, that is a Rodri. Rodri was also one of the key players that helped Manchester City to win the Premier League. The same thing that Vini Jr. did with Real Madrid because he was also key in Real Madrid winning the La Liga. So clearly you can see after everything that I've just told you, clearly you can see why Rodri was actually ahead. But the main reason why I was saying that Bellingham actually had a better, a better position to beat Rodri is simply because that season actually if you try and compare that is Bellingham and Rodri in terms of defensive attributes and the midfield attributes, you will actually find out that they were actually very close. These two, they were actually very close from that is a defending and goals and assists. They were actually close, and the fact that Bellingham was the best player in the La Liga and he was the best young player in the UEFA Champions League and he was actually the best player for England in that Euros. The same England that managed to reach the finals of the Euros. Clearly, you can see why Jude Bellingham could actually be ahead of Rodri if actually they were to compete with those two. But Real Madrid made a mistake by backing up Vini Jr. and deciding to leave Bellingham, and that's how they lost the Ballon d'Or. Because if they could actually have backed up Bellingham, that could have actually be an easy battle because this could actually be a battle of midfielders. But a midfielder versus a winger, actually, if a midfielder had a good season, clearly you can see, the midfielder was actually on upper hand or on a upper hand to win the Ballon d'Or. So that's why, Vinny Jr. managed to lose to Rodri.